Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kajidori.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here. And I'm so excited about my guest here, somebody who is doing extremely well in helping business owners, busy business owners, slim, fast, in fact, become their very best in their physical body at the same time as going after their goals. And with me is Leslie Chen. Leslie, thank you so much for joining me here for the first time. So good to see you.
You're very welcome, Yeukai. It's such a pleasure of mine to be on the show.
Amazing. You have an extraordinary story of how you started your coaching program, and within a fairly short period of time, grew that to generate, over a six-figure income, which is outstanding given the current market that we have right now. During that process, would you be able to share, you may have discovered, maybe some secrets of how to do fast, how to do it efficiently without losing your life. Would you share with everybody here maybe one thing that you've discovered during this process?
Absolutely. For me, I'm pretty sure everybody has different coaches and different entrepreneurs have different lessons. But for me, the biggest lesson was overcoming procrastination. Because for me, one of the biggest barriers was the fear of selling. It took me about 2 years just to overcome the fear of selling. And the background was I've been in a 9-to-5 corporate world. Before I started my business, I never sold anything myself. I was in management consulting, so we were always talking about strategy development, and selling was a completely different world to me. Now, as an individual, right, when you first started, you don't have any reputation yet. You don't have much, let's say, right, social proof. A lot of time, people will be like, okay, let me build an audience of 5,000 people on my email list first, before I launch something small, like the $27 ebook, right? And then I will test my market to see if I'm positioning correctly. But that's exactly what I fell for. And it took me 2 years. I was so frustrated with a list of close to 8,000 people and not selling one thing, until one day I was like, okay, no matter what I sell, I have to sell something so that I can prove my business. So my first product was the $100 group coaching. 30 women signed up for it. So it was a group coaching program. It was only 4 weeks. But then it gave me the massive confidence, even though it was a small offer. It gave me a massive confidence because I know somebody is willing to buy. If I have, worked on overcoming my fear of selling and just went out and sell this valuable program earlier, I could have accomplished my revenue, multi-six figure much earlier, probably 1 year, even earlier than that. So that's the biggest lesson I have. Yeah.
Love that. Listening to you and having done over 400 episodes, 460 now, it is becoming very clear that the fear of selling and the fear of, what will people think about me really is one of the biggest things that stops a lot of people from taking action and really going after their goals. So I'm glad you talked about that. At what point did the switch flipped and you went for it? What happened? What was going on for you?
I had close to 8,000 people on my email list. I was doing emails 3 times a week. And I've been running my business for over 1 year now at this point. And I couldn't even call it as a business. I remember this conversation my friend and I were having. We haven't met each other for over 2.5 years. And she asked me, what are you up to lately? I said, verbally, I'm running a business. I just started a business. But at that very moment, I really doubted myself. How can you call this thing a business without $1 of income, right? And I was really in deep doubt of my offer. I knew at the back of my mind, and as soon as I started this business, that it's a valuable offer, but I had no proof. And I realized if I do not jump in and just start selling, I will eventually kill this offer and kill this, business that I've been working on for, by that time, a year. So that is the critical moment when I decided, okay, I just have to do it.
There are people listening right now, Leslie, that are afraid of selling. They've been in business, they've been trying to do the same thing, knowing what you know now about what's happening on the other side. What would you say to them?
Okay, there are two things I wanted to say. First of all, it's really not as difficult. When you know absolutely who your audience is and what problem you're solving for them. A lot of people are procrastinating on selling, because I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches like I am. And a lot of them are procrastinating on it because they don't have clarity and certainty about either one of these two or both of them. They're like, okay, I can solve it, but at the back of my mind, I don't know. I'm trying to solve everything, but what is the one niche problem and a niche value you're bringing? There's no absolute clarity over it. So that kind of hinders people from going just after the market because there's no clarity, which means there's no confidence, right? So that's like one thing. The other thing that I want to share with folks here is that think about two products you are selling, right? One is $50, the other is $5,000. No, sorry, one is $500, the other is $5,000. In my experience, it's easier to sell the $5,000 product than a $500 product. And I have people, when I did launch to my email list, I had people coming after me saying that 500 is too expensive, and can I have a discount, right? Or I can't afford it because it's too expensive. But when I started selling $5,000 programs, it's completely different because people coming to those calls are super committed and focused already. They're willing to invest in themselves already. So you kind of already filter, right, your buyers from the ones who are indecisive or not committed enough to want to invest in themselves. And the conversation for the deal actually goes on pretty smoothly. But it all goes back to the precondition, the foundation of this clarity, because without the clarity about what exactly is the problem and you're solving and what it means to your specific audience, you won't be able to speak from confidence and clarity, right? Whether it is on your, let's say, sales emails, sales pages, or on the sales conversations that you have. You won't be able to speak from that level with that level of authenticity. So that is the number one thing that you have to do, is that I have to get absolute clarity first regarding what it means for my audience to have solved this problem.
Absolutely. I remember when I was selling a program, our podcast program, where we are sharing with everybody how to start, how to scale, and how to monetize your podcast. I was charging quite a lot of money. At first my business partner said, I don't know, that's quite a lot of money. And when I broke it down, what they're going to get as a result of that, in the grand scheme of things, it was insignificant. That gave me that clarity. And when I was having a conversation with my coaching students, I was saying it, even though perhaps slowly, as if I'm not even bothering, but people were eager. Even to this day, people are still wanting to come into that program. It was no longer selling, pushy car salesperson. No, it's like, this program is going to help you achieve your goal. It is that vehicle to your goal, your destination, that transformation which you want.
Exactly.
And the people that you attract into your business, they have a different mindset altogether. They follow through, they get results, and they are happy to talk about it, compared to the smaller. Maybe I shouldn't be saying it that way, because that's where I started. But like you, when you sell the higher ticket offers, and you know exactly what you deliver, what is going to do to people, you're offering something that could change not only them, but their family, their extended workforce, so to speak, and even community. And the value of that truly is outstanding. So I love, what you've just said there.
Yeah, and it's a lot of time you have to first of all believe that you are changing their lives.
Absolutely.
I've been speaking to a lot of coaches who just started their business 1 or 2 years ago, right? They're fairly new coaches and they have no idea. The thing is that, hey, if you ask them, what do you do? Is that I help entrepreneurs write books or publish a book, and I'm charging $500 for my offer. Then you keep asking them, okay, by publishing a book with your help, what can that person accomplish? And then you can tell that person start thinking as if he has never thought of it before. Oh, just, get more reputation out there, get more authority out there. But hey, what does that really mean? If you have the clarity that by helping him once, to publish his best-selling book, he will be able to bring in $500,000 of extra revenue on a yearly basis. Your perspective about your value and your offer will be completely different. So that's one key thing, that you have to know your offer, and you also have to know your audience and what they're really struggling with. I remember even before, because we're talking about the making of a 4-figure offer, right? So I remember even before I started organizing my offer, one thing I did was I did extensive research. I spoke to 157 women just purely for interviews, because I was focused on mainly women at that time. So I spoke to these professional women, one-on-one, 30 to 40 minutes each, and asked them about what is really your fear if you don't get to solve this problem. Because my offer is to help professional women lose weight and make weight a non-issue, and food obsession, emotional eating, non-issues in the rest of their life, right? So I asked them, what is going to be, what's going to happen in your life if you cannot, let's say, heaven forbid, but if you cannot solve this problem. Then I started hearing stories like, my marriage is facing a lot of risk because one woman told me that her husband thinks that her food patterns and weight pattern is dictating their marriage, right? And she's no longer the apple in his eyes anymore, and his children are not get to see the role model that they need to see because the mother is tired and doesn't have energy all the time. So when you know that the marriage is actually jeopardized, she doesn't have enough energy to work efficiently as well. Like one woman I helped, she went to one of the top medical institutions in the United States. She took a $240,000 loan, and she almost failed. She almost failed because she woke up 2 hours ahead of everybody, like 5-something a.m., and run for 2 hours so that she could feel justified for eating during the day. Then she doesn't have any energy left, for her study. So once you know their stories, really get into the deep fears, you start realizing what the value is. So 157 women I spoke to one-on-one. And it also helped me build an initial client base, because after this conversation, of course, you will ask them, do you want to participate in this program? Yeah, we were just talking about the fear of selling. And of course, you have to overcome that. Just shout out the question. And people surprise you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a great believer that everybody has something of value to offer to another human being. Yeah. And if you look at that someone is struggling today and you have a solution, and you're not providing that solution to somebody else, you're being cruel. Literally, you're cheating that person the joy of living a happy life. Yeah. And the thing that is stopping you from doing that is being able to communicate that you've got something of value that they need, which is what it's all about selling. It's really being able to communicate that you've got the solution that they're looking for. And
not only communicating the solution, but also communicate from a place of authority.
Absolutely.
And that requires massive confidence. It's because you have to really tune in your personal belief that I can solve this problem. And basically what I did, one of the techniques that I really love, talking about actionable right items, I really encourage all of the coaches who are not sure, don't have that level of confidence yet, sit down just with himself for 2 hours on a Saturday night or Friday night. Pull up a piece of paper or maybe a Word document, whichever your preference is, and write down 50 reasons why you can solve the person's problem. The thing is that we are always limited by our self-limiting beliefs. I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And this is because our scientists have shown us today that our human brains are more prone to think of the negativities, 3 times more prone for negativities than thinking about the positives. It's not like you don't have the positive ideas or confidence in you. It's just that we are wired to not focus on the positives, but more on the negatives, right? So that creates a lot of room for self-doubts. What I did was I sat down with myself. No interference from anybody or no disturbance at all. So I listed out not only like 150, I actually listed out over 100 reasons why I knew I could help this person solve the problem. That's before I sold anything. And not knowing, not being sure that I can actually solve the problem was the huge factor why I was procrastinating on actual selling. So I knew I had to overcome that fear. I have to overcome the self-limiting belief, the limiting belief that I cannot sell, or I may not be able to solve that person's problem. Sat down, listed out 10 evidence-based statements in terms of why I'm absolutely sure I can solve the problem, all drawn from the past life experience, right, and observations. Yeah. And after that session, the whole idea was transformed. Confidence was there.
Wow, amazing. You have just taken me back down the memory lane. You know, I remember I went to Mark Anastasia's event back then when I was beginning to look at doing business and all that. I wasn't so sure what was going to be doing. You know, I was new to England, migrated from Zimbabwe. You know, I had so many reasons why I couldn't do a business. What right. Mark led us to do, it was on an internet marketing event right. In London. And he said, during the first 3 hours of our time together, before we talk about the strategies, later on, we're going to talk about why you must be in business, why you want to be in business. And you right. list, you know, the reasons, you know, about the past, about what you want to achieve in life. You know, right. we wrote probably up to 15, you know, have all these reasons why you want to be in business, those wonderful ones. But he then pushed us, you know, like, what else? What else? What else? By the time we get to 100, it became so clear that I was so prepared to get in business. And that was a game changer for me to just begin to start doing this. And that's when I started my outsourcing business back then. So what you've just explained there, truly, I've experienced it in getting into business, and I can see how that can apply in creating an offer that sells. Truly, truly amazing.
Well, it's amazing in the sense that, you know, when I first sat down, I thought I'd probably come up with only 10. Yeah. I set the goal of 50. I thought I'd probably only be able to come up with 10 because I've never sold anything before. And then the interesting thing was, once I started, my mind was opened. I was in a mode, almost like in trance of writing everything down. And it's one just came up after another. Like your mind was just like this box was just opened, and all of these new ideas, which is also truly authentic as well, just constantly flow out. And you're basically receiving it and writing them down. And after that process is done, you knew in your mind that, you know, it comes from 100% authenticity, because there's no thought process basically. Because in the end, you're mainly just receiving these ideas, which came from the deep bottom of your memory, from your experience, so that you know it's true. When you know that you're coming from 100% authenticity, you know that it's going to move people. So that's where you get the kind of confidence that you need to start selling. And I would describe the experience of not so much of the logical experience, even though the beginning, the inception of the whole process, when you think about doing it, it comes after the logical thinking process. This is the way that you should use to overcome the fear, right? But once you start it, it's more of the visceral process. It's more of the spiritual process. So it's not just functioning, your brain trying to come up with these ideas. You actually receive those ideas, right? And then you write them down, you look at it, wow, I'm truly capable. That's how you transform your mindset from fearing into creating. And also just going out. I was just joking with my friend this morning. So I told her that, I'll be on a podcast every week. I don't know how I'm going to do it, right? I have like five more podcasts down the line, but I'm going to do it every week for the next year. And she's like, why do you want to do it? And I said, it's simple. It's because, you have a worth telling story. You just go tell. It shouldn't be something difficult for you. But when I first started my business, I didn't even know whether my story was worth telling. I didn't even know that. And also I was faced with a lot of barriers. Of course, now I know these were, self-conceptualized kind of barriers. For instance, the language barrier. I always say that I'm a foreigner trying to start a business in a Western world who's not speaking native English. English is a native language, or not able to communicate in written format on the same level as native speakers. Now I know it's not even, maybe it's true, but it doesn't even matter, because the thing is that when you have a worthy story to tell, people just listen no matter what your accent is. I'm pretty sure that you have the same experience as I am, because you're running the one of the
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. All these things we just put them. Absolutely. All these things, we just put them in our way. They don't even matter. It's what you have. If it was something of value, people will be listening to you, would want to know. For example, when we started the podcast, in fact, as a matter of fact, our podcast is now ranked among the top 3 most popular podcasts globally as we speak.
Right
now. But when we started, I thought, who is going to listen to me? Now we've got, close to 78,000 downloads every single month on episodes that we have. It's like, oh my goodness, how, where are all these people coming from? Why would they want to keep listening to me? They want, because we've got great guests, of course, but some of them just want to come and listen to me.
You have to have the courage to reach out to those people to begin with.
Absolutely. Let me talk to Bill for a moment here, Leslie. Bill, I know you're hearing this. Maybe you've had this before, and maybe you tried to act on this, but you haven't really started working on it. I want to encourage you to take note of that. Begin to think, what is it that is stopping you from doing what you already know? We both know, and you know as well, that how you do anything is how you do everything. That same thing which is stopping you from creating that amazing and compelling offer could be stopping you from doing other things in life. So we want to encourage you, if you can today, take this conversation we're having and really create those reasons why you have to create a compelling offer. Or maybe, if you're in my case, why you have to start that particular business, so that you become very clear and very confident in what you have to offer. And like one of my mentors says, never leave a place of discovery without documenting or even putting down a date when you're going to be implementing, because we want you to implement what Leslie is talking about, what we are discussing here, because we know that real change comes from implementation, not just listening. Listening is the great first part, but it's not the end and all. You have to move on to implementation. Coming back to Leslie, I know there will be people here, and especially in our community, would love for you actually to join our community, Leslie, if you can, that would love to follow you and maybe check out your program that you have, specifically, how you are helping women live lives of their dreams. Where can people find you today?
Well, the main way to find me is through my website URL. It's www.risling.com. So it's Risling spelled as RISELEAN.com. So when you're on the website, you can download my free masterclass, which talks about how I do it in terms of transforming the physiology and the psychology towards food for these women and help them lose weight and get over emotional eating without working on it. So that, I think that's the first step you can take, in terms of learning how I work with people and why the system I use actually works for people.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, there you have it. If you didn't catch that, there will be a link at the bottom of this recording. So you just need to click that. You'll be taken straight to Leslie's website and be able to get the help that you need. Look, there is a reason why you're listening to us today. Maybe that reason could be, it's your time to make that change which you've always wanted to change. And like we always say here, don't do this alone. Get somebody who's done it, who's producing results, and see if you can learn one or two things. There's no need for you to reinvent the wheel. You certainly can learn from others who are doing it, because we are all the same, really, we are. And we want you to succeed. That's why we always bring you amazing guests like Leslie every single time. Leslie, I want to say thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Yeukai. It's really a pleasure talking to you about, bringing up this exciting ideas, which are really valuable to the audience here.
Yeah, you truly have been wonderful and generous with your knowledge. Appreciate that. And I hope we can have you back very, very soon. If not, we would love to have you in the community to answer questions that people may have for sure around this topic, and also around your passion as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you to live well, live with passion, know that the best is truly, truly yet to come. And also, please make sure to reach out to any of our moderators in the community if you've got any question. And I will be there. I can't wait actually to be with you in the community with our member-led tutorials this coming week. It's going to be great. And I will be answering some of the questions in there as well. All right, then. Thank you and goodbye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.